Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for another Career Talk. My name is Andy Oshroff, and I'm the manager of USM's Career and Employment Hub. And we're very excited to have join us today alumni and employee of Stantec, Kaylee Coombs. And Kaylee is going to talk a little bit about her organization and some of the opportunities that are available. And so I'll pass it over to you, Kaylee.
Awesome. Thanks, Andy. And I wanted to thank all the students that are on and the students that are going to be listening down the road. This is a really exciting opportunity for me because, of course, as Andy mentioned, I am a USM alum and I'm actually very familiar with the Career Hub. I had an internship with the Career Hub when I was, I think, a junior at USM I started, and then I also had another one when I was a senior, and that actually blossomed into a really great career, which has helped to lead me to where I am today, which is really great. So as Andy mentioned, I work for a company called Stantec, and we are an engineering and consulting firm. We have offices right here in Portland, Maine, and another one in Topsom, but we are a global company. So we have offices that are out in India. We have some in Boulder, Colorado, and we all work together. So I guess I should talk a little bit about what an engineering and consulting firm is. So we work on a really wide range of projects, and we work on projects at the very early stages. So what we do is we start with a scope of work and we start formulating ideas about all the possibilities that could be a building or an ethanol generation plant or like a solar farm or something like that. So we start in the earlier stages and we start to draw out schematics of what it's going to be. And then what we do is we pass that information on to a contractor or a builder who actually makes that project come to fruition. We do have a couple people that stay on through the end of the project to see it come through. But what we primarily do is the stuff right there in the beginning. So all the number crunching and all of the stuff, just figuring out how things will work. So that's Stantec in a nutshell. And we have sectors that really touch just about everything. So we have space for a lot of people. So we have folks that do environmental engineering. Thanks, Andy. We have folks that do aviation, transportation, community planning, architecture. So we're really all over the map, and we incorporate tons of different roles into those different sectors that we have. So we have people from backgrounds in computer science and business management and environmental science, like myself. And we all have a big space to collaborate and work together on these projects. And if Andy, if you wanted to show that presentation, I'm actually on slide number 3 right now. So folks can check that out. I just have a brief overview on that slide of just some of the services that we provide, some of the really high level stuff. So I've got interior design, mining, geospatial analysis, hydropower, all of that good stuff. And then on slide 4, I talk a little bit more about the power and dam sector, which is the sector that I work in. So a lot of people, when they think power and dams, they think, oh, okay, that's, maybe just a construction of a dam somewhere. But it's a lot more complex than that. So we work on the generation of power across a ton of different lines. So that could be sustainable power generation. So that could be hydroelectric dams, the solar farms, wind farms. But we also do just a range of other things. We actually have a project right now where we're upgrading a paper mill in Rumford. So on this slide, on slide 4, you can see that we have just a bunch of different projects that we're working on. And I have a list of 4 different ones that we're working on right now. So one is right in Rhode Island, and that is updating a coal-fired electricity plant to help it be more green. Of course, you think of coal-fired electricity plant and you think, wow, that's terrible for the earth, and it absolutely is. But we're working on ways to make it more sustainable and shift into more alternative sources. Another one that we're working on is out in Colorado. It's called the Chimney Hollow Reservoir, and that's actually the creation of a hydroelectric dam along the Colorado River to help generate electricity for folks in the immediate area. One that's pretty cool that we recently started, we call it just Sugar Valley, but it's an ethanol generation facility that's out in California. And what they do is they're actually going to be taking sugar cane and cooking that down to make ethanol, because I'm not sure if you're aware, but ethanol powered cars are a really big thing out in California. And the last project that I have listed is an AC DC converter station. And no, I'm not talking about like the rock band or anything. Um, so what it is it's a station that's actually going to be in Lewiston, Maine. And you might have heard about this project. It's somewhat controversial right now. But if you see the bumper stickers on people's cars, it will say, no energy corridor or energy corridor. So we're actually, Stantec has a role in this project. So what it is it's energy being produced from a dam out of Hydro-Quebec. And what they're doing is they're going to move some of that energy down to southern New England. And Maine is actually a point where it will have to come through. So that we're working on the big station right in Lewiston that will help to convert that electricity from AC to DC. So that's another pretty cool one that we're working on. And then I thought I'd talk a little bit about what I do at Stantec and, how I got to be in this role. So I guess I'll start with just how I got to be here. So I am an alumni from USM. I graduated in 2019 with a degree in environmental science. But I was kind of all over the place. When I first started at USM, I think I was in the fall of 2014. I thought I wanted to be a civil engineer. So my goal was to spend my first year at USM and really get acclimated to the college life and then transfer up to Orono and finish out my degree there. Well, after my first year, I was like, wow, I don't think I really want to go to Orono. I'm very much a homebody. So I switched to the next best thing, and that was mechanical engineering. And I did that for another year, and I got about 2 years of the core engineering under my belt. And I think it was in calculus 3, I realized, okay, this is not for me. I'm not meant to be a mechanical engineer. At that point, I really sat down and did some self-evaluation and figured out, okay, well, what do I really like? What do I really want? And at that point, I realized, okay, I really like science. I really like learning about the natural environment and conservation. So I switched my focus at USM for the final 2.5 years to environmental science, which I ultimately got my degree in. But also at that time, that 2-year mark of college, I realized that I did really like the aspect of design and working in these CAD programs and drawing. So I actually started an associate's degree at the same time at Southern Maine Community College in architecture and engineering design. And I actually just wrapped up that degree this past spring. So I was really hoping to merge the two. So while I was a student at USM, I actually got really in touch with the Career Hub, which I'm sure you guys are in touch with them now, but if you're not, they're amazing. And they helped me to get an internship at Greater Portland Council of Governments, which was fantastic. I worked there as an intern for about a year. Both semesters were covered under the USM MEIF internship program. And I think I was working about 12 hours a week. And it was just really great exposure to what was going on in the real world. And eventually, I got to come on with that company full time. And I actually became the manager of that internship role that I once had. So I was the Maine Clean Communities coordinator. That was my title for a while. And it was great. I actually got to take on another intern from the USM NEIF internship program. And she was wonderful to work with. And it was a great experience. And then not too long into working at Greater Portland Council of Governments, I had some folks from Stantec reach out to me and they said, we've looked at your LinkedIn profile. We have a position open in project administration, and we'd like to interview you. And I thought, wow, okay. I really like GPCog. I really like what I do there. But working at Stantec definitely seems to align more with my career goals, which were to use both degrees that I had and hopefully get into a work of sustainability. So I interviewed and I was lucky enough to land the role. So that's what I've been doing now for the past year. I've been working at Stantec as a project administrator. And as you can see from the slides or from the bullets on the slide, I really do a range of stuff. So that can be document control. So that's just managing a lot of incoming and outgoing stuff, because as you can imagine, there's a lot of drawings, scopes of work, what have you, that come in and out. I get to use a bit of my drafting skills from SMCC, primarily in civil work. So I'll take some GIS coordinates and I'll plop them into AutoCAD 3D and design landscape and do a grading plan. And another thing that I'm getting a bit more into is BIM. So that stands for Building Information Modeling. So what that is it's just a big idea of collaborative space. So that means that Stantec, our clients, other contractors, we work together at the very early stages of the project and build one central 3D model to identify where errors are going to be. So maybe I've got a door going the wrong way, and sometimes that stuff won't be figured out until it's actually being installed. Whereas now we can figure out clash detections early on and actually figure out, oh, okay, this door's not in the right place or it's facing the wrong direction. We need to fix it. And it's pretty inexpensive to make that fix when we're just doing it on the computer in computer space. Whereas if we're out in the field, it can get pretty expensive. So another thing I do is technical reporting. So I assist the project managers in creating project execution plans and scopes of work. I also serve as the final line of QA, QC for outgoing documents. So I'll review our drawings and make sure they're up to our standards and free of typos, because it happens to everybody. And with that, I do a lot of general IT. So just troubleshooting stuff that's going on in projects or just issues that people are having with the drawing software. So moving on, I think my next slide is career opportunities. So Stantec is, like I said, it's a massive company, and we have spaces for everybody. We have so many different career avenues that we offer. We have people doing HR, people doing IT. We have project managers. We have just managers of people. We have drafters, scientists. We have so many different people and so many different opportunities at our offices around the world. But with that being said, as you can probably expect, we were impacted this year by COVID-19, like a lot of other companies. So the career opportunities that we have available now are definitely a bit more restricted than they were this time last year. But this is just an example. I pulled this up on, I believe it was Tuesday. So using that link that I have right there in blue, you can access all of Stantec careers globally and see what there are. And these are just a couple of the ones that are posted for some areas of New England. So right in our Portland office, we are looking for a couple different project managers. And typically those people come from backgrounds in project management, whether that's a 4-year degree program or just doing, just having experience doing it from another role that they might have had at a different company. We're looking for an aviation fuel system engineer, and in Massachusetts, environmental scientist, desktop support analyst, civil engineer. So we really have a lot of different opportunities going across the globe, but like I said, they can be a little bit limited right now due to COVID. But if you're really interested in coming on with Stantec, which I can definitely advocate, it's a great company, just check our career portal maybe once a week or every couple of days, because our HR folks do a really great job of keeping it updated. And then on to the next slide. I just want to know if any of the students have any questions for me, or, just want to learn a little bit more of what I went through finding a career and how I'm working to build my career. So any questions you might have. And if you don't have questions right now, my email is on that last slide. It's kaylee.coombs@stantec.com. Feel free to shoot me an email. I'm more than happy to just assist you with anything. I actually was able to assist a student with her thesis last semester, which was really great. I love doing that. So if you have any questions, never feel afraid to reach out.
Kaylee, thank you so much for your presentation and kind of just walking us through your very interesting time just after USM. I think you know um, you have this insight that a lot of students are seeking right now as they have just kind of many of them have graduated this past winter and are in that transition mode of looking for a job just out of college. And I'm wondering if you have any kind of words of wisdom for those students that are about to set out on their path after USM.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I feel like there's a lot of pressure on recent graduates to get out, get a job in your field immediately, make a significant salary, and do that all really quickly. And, I realize I recognize that pressure, but I just want to let students know that take your time. Your career, you have so much time to build your career and find that perfect career, and it will work out for you. And just because it doesn't happen in 2 weeks, a month, 6 months, a year post graduation, it doesn't mean that it won't happen. You just have to keep putting yourself out there, go to networking events, apply to jobs, even if they don't seem like they're right up your alley. Go to that job, do that job interview just to get experience. And just don't be discouraged because it can be so difficult. I actually so COVID impacted us pretty hard over this past year, and being new to the company, um, I was definitely a very low man on the totem pole, and I thought I was actually going to get furloughed or laid off, and so my hours did get reduced by half. So I was working 20 hours a week for almost 6 months. So of course I was like, okay, what do I do here? How do I strategize this? Um, so I applied to a plethora of jobs just to either part timers to fill that role, or maybe something because I was so unsure of my future with Stantec, in midsummer. And it just my advice would be is to just keep applying, and don't be discouraged if you get some automated response back from somebody that's not even a person, because I was rejected from I don't even know how many roles this summer, probably upwards of 10, 15, and rejection happens. And you just have to take that advice that maybe the person that is hiring, if they give you an advice on your resume, or hey, maybe you made a typo, you know, that's something that you can just take with you and build it into yourself moving forward. Try to not make that mistake going forward. So I guess in that big spiel, my whole point is just don't be discouraged. It's hard. The market is hard, but you'll get there.
Yeah, I think that is a some great wisdom. It is certainly a challenging time and a very strange time to be graduating and kind of looking for a first position. We got a great question from one of the students attending, and that is, as a young woman, how did you stay confident and motivated in entering your field?
Oh, I love that question. I actually it is hard actually being a young woman going into a field that is primarily male dominated is extremely intimidating. I even to this day I'm extremely intimidated by it actually. But the important thing is I've come to learn, I've had many conversations with my supervisor. People don't look at you and think gender. They just see you as a person with potential and knowledge to bring to the table. And you have to just see yourself in the same light. I could be a male, I could be a female, I could be, anything that I identify as. But as long as I come to the table and I'm ready to work and I am just eager, then you know what? People will accept you and embrace that. And I think that's the most important thing, is to just sort of set those feelings aside and just be ready to work. People really like that.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that was a great.
Um, yeah, it really was, and certainly an important one.
Yeah.
We have another question about just if there's interest in a particular position at Stantec, Is it okay if a student reaches out to you, or should they kind of apply directly? How would you recommend they proceed?
Yeah, no, that's a really great question as well. So, um, you can apply directly to our job board, but I think Stantec, from what I've learned over my past year, is that they do really value the opinions of current employees. So if you wanted to send me an email and just say, hey, I'm thinking about this position, you maybe want to look at my resume before I apply, or maybe have any suggestions for me on my cover letter, definitely feel free to reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to do that. And then with that, once you apply, I can also send a word to whomever is going to be managing that role that you're applying for, and just say, hey, this is a USM alum. I helped work with them on this, just getting their resume. I just wanted to bring their name to light. So I think you could definitely use me. I would be more than happy to help any folks.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that offer, and we'll be sure to let our students know that. Um, I'm not seeing any more questions in the chat, but that is okay. So I think what we'll do is just kind of wrap up here. I just wanted to thank you again so much for taking the time to chat with us today, and we'll get this video posted and share out some of the great resources. I think your perspective as an alum, and your experiences through various internships and your work now is really compelling for students. So thank you so much again for taking the time.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I just want to express to students too. I mean, never feel afraid to reach out. So I did have my email posted, and I can share that again. Um, Definitely just shoot me an email. Just if you want to talk about just experiences going into the workforce, or you're interested in Stantec directly, never feel afraid to reach out.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kaylee. And
Yeah.
yeah, and have a great weekend. We'll see you
Awesome.
soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Andy.
Okay. Bye.